guys, welcome to Keeping Up with Conspicuous, podcast episode number 3. I am here with Nico today, who is part of the UK team here at Conspicuous. Okay, so structure of today's podcast is going to be asking Nico a few questions and then into a little twist of a quick fire round where he's got to answer questions like this. Nothing too bad, don't worry. But yeah, so let's kick it off with, okay, Nico, thank you for joining us.
Hi everyone.
How are you today?
Yeah, not bad. Keeping well, busy as always. But yeah, looking forward to this. Bit nervous, but we'll see how it goes.
Don't be nervous. Okay, first question I've got for you, and I did give you a little heads up on this one. Why is Conspicuous called Conspicuous, please?
Very good question. And to be honest, it's probably not as deep or maybe as meaningful as people think. As I understand, and we will get Rob to confirm this afterwards, is his friends. Something to do with a story was his friends gave him the idea and he rolled with it.
Oh, that's cool. I like that though.
Yeah. So, I mean, Rob will be able to tell us more details. So, Rob, let us know.
Okay, yeah, yes, please, Rob. Okay, and for the listeners out there, I know a lot of them will obviously know of you, but can you please explain who you are, what you do here, and your sort of journey to lead you to joining Conspicuous, please?
Yeah, so I guess I went to university and did photography, so very relevant, obviously. But no, I enjoyed it. However, it was not what I decided I wanted to do as a career. So left university, worked for Philips, the big electrical company, as a logistics coordinator. Again, very different. Spent a year there and then went to another role working in sales for a few months. Didn't quite work out, not what I was really interested in. And so I was speaking to Rob and then decided to go with Conspicuous. I actually had someone that I went to school with that was working here, just in a sort of admin role, and they made the introduction. Said it was a really great place to work, so I gave it a go, and I mean, they were absolutely right. 9 years later, 9.5 years later, I'm still here. So, really enjoying things. Great place to work, and
good.
Yeah, I'm glad I came.
Good. And so, talk us through a typical day in the life, please, with work, obviously.
I mean, is there such a thing as a typical day in
Tell us.
In the role? It's so varied. Obviously, you come in. First thing you do is check your emails, check your messages, catch up with the team, run through your sort of plans for the day. Hopefully you've got some candidates to call, catch up with some clients, and yeah, I guess as I say, it's very varied. So something you might be focusing on one thing, then something else comes in. You've got to be able to be very adaptable, very fluid, flexible, and I guess prioritising, that's quite a key one.
Yeah, definitely.
I think a typical day is probably not necessarily the right words because it's so different, and what you expect the day might hold is probably very different to what it actually will.
Yeah, you always taught me things can change like this.
Yeah, exactly. And you can be very low in the role, something bad might happen, but then the next minute you could be the complete opposite side. So it changes so quickly, it's so fast paced. But that's, I guess, what makes it so exciting, so interesting, and a great place to work. It's the sort of varied nature of everything.
Exactly. Okay, and what about the last challenge you faced and how you overcome it? Apologies.
The last challenge, the big ones are probably over the last couple of years. There's obviously been COVID, which was very difficult. You know, a lot of companies sort of shut up shop. No one was really hiring. There was the odd roles out there, and I guess what you've got to do is being adaptable. So during the sort of COVID pandemic although 90% of companies were probably not hiring, equally, if you think about what's going on in the environment or in the world, you know, maybe look at healthcare companies, look at food companies, because they will be thriving. So those companies and all of these companies are going to use IT, Dynamics, you know, whatever it may be. And if they're increasing their sort of output, they're going to need assistance. So it's about being adaptable and looking at the situations and using them to sort of target specific industries or areas. So that would have been COVID. And then again, earlier this year, things were a little bit trickier. The economy, the cost of living, again, some projects were put on hold. Other companies were just slowing down their sort of hiring just taking stock, seeing where they're at with everything. So it's about, the relationships and being adaptable. I think that's the key thing. As long as you're adaptable, flexible,
and you're very good at adapting, but also being resilient, I'd say. You're always so positive. Honestly, guys, there's not a day I have come into the office and Nico has not been positive. He's such an upbeat, positive person, like genuinely. And it kind of forces you to be positive as well. Not that I try to be negative, but when someone's so upbeat and positive, you just can't help but mirror that. So I think it's really important. So thank you.
Yeah, it's always what I say, PMA, positive mental attitude. If you're positive things happen. Simple as that.
Exactly.
If you're negative and dwell on things, then naturally So
okay, and so leading on from that, what's the best advice you think you've ever received during your time at Conspicuous?
I think it's sort of on that, is not to let things get you down. Obviously, if something bad happens, for sure, go and, take a walk, take a bit of time. But don't take things or the situations or whatever might happen personally.
Yeah.
If you take it personally and start thinking that it's you specifically, then obviously it's going to hurt you more, or it's going to hit you harder.
Yeah.
But of course, if something bad happens, go and take a walk, take a few minutes away from the screen, or go to the gym, or whatever it may be.
That's good.
But try not to dwell on things and don't take it personally. Just really try and stay focused and. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Thank you. And so what about for someone who's new to recruitment or wants to set some new goals? What goals would you recommend setting as a recruiter?
I think obviously you've got to have long-term goals, but I think it's super important to break your goals down into smaller targets that are much more achievable. So maybe set yourself one target maybe on a daily basis, then one for the week, then maybe one for the month, for the year. So you've got little milestones that you can win, because small wins obviously help keep you motivated.
Definitely.
If you look at things in a massive picture, if you just think of one target and that's the whole year, then it's going to be really daunting and it's not going to be as motivating.
You can't see the progress.
Exactly. If you're always just aiming for that one large thing, you're going to be thinking, God, that's so far away. God, that's so difficult to get to.
Yeah.
So I forgot what the question was, but
what goals would you recommend setting as a recruiter?
So I know they're not specific goals, but I would break it down into smaller daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, and then sort of an overall yearly one. I think that's probably.
Yeah, no, definitely, because it will all be specific to what industry you work in, or whether you're a 180 recruiter or 360. So I guess that's a good way of making it fair for everyone.
Yeah.
And so with Conspicuous, obviously we try and help clients to retain the talent when we place someone at clients or companies. So how do we help ensure that the talent is being retained and get that employee satisfaction?
Good point. So there's a number of things that we obviously do, and I think one of those is, if you look at the website, we've got blogs or little sections for advice on what you can do, even from the very beginning, from the onboarding process. So it may seem very obvious, but having someone's desk set up on their first day, having their laptop ready, notepads there, all the sort of stationery and everything that you need. Like I say, it sounds very basic, but all of those things add up and they add to that overall candidate experience. We've heard horror stories. Equally, we've heard really good things from other clients, such as, I know there's some clients that send a quick video message to candidates in advance of them starting. So all of that, we can take on board, and we can run through, have conversations with our clients, understand what their process is, and give advice, say, maybe you could do this or change that to improve things, because the first 2, 3, 4, 6 months that's the honeymoon period, as people say. If people are starting to doubt the move they've made already, or in that period, then you're already in trouble.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you have that down to a T, and it even goes back to the interview process, because first interactions are representations of a business.
Yeah.
So you've got to make sure that interview processes are in time, don't take forever. Feedback as well is in a timely manner, all of that sort of thing, and just be conscious of all interactions that you have, every sort of touch point, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, and so what advice do you have for candidates out there that are looking to stand out in the application or interview process? Maybe things you've seen that you've liked or heard?
Yeah, I actually did a post on this yesterday, so yeah, I think it's really, really important as a candidate to obviously make sure the roles that you're applying for are relevant, firstly. Read through the job spec, read through any information, look at the company information, and make sure that the roles you're applying for are relevant. Have conversations with people as well, talk to the network. Your network is huge. It's such an important thing, is the network, especially in the sort of community that there is within the dynamic space. There's so much crossover with people that have worked at different companies or that you've worked with in the past. So use that network. Make sure that you stand out as well. So be a bit creative. Yes, people want to know about your skills, but be a bit personable as well.
Yeah.
Come across as show them what type of person you are. Obviously don't only focus on that. And then the other one, which I've seen quite a bit of recently, is doing your research before an interview. So if you're going into an interview as a candidate, make sure you look through the website, you understand the business, the size of them, what they do, their focus areas, because during an interview, if you're speaking to a client, you've got no idea of them as a business, what they do, what even the role is, it shows that you're not really interested or not really committed.
Definitely.
To,
and we
to
do
the role
get
you're going
people rejected, don't we, if they don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, there can be situations that it's not always possible if it's a last minute call or whatnot. Sometimes there's not always a job spec if it's sort of an exploratory conversation. But we do otherwise have clients that will say, it'd be great to see a little bit more enthusiasm or passion for the role. So that's an easy way of showcasing that. And so in this new world of remote and flexible working, how should clients tackle the sort of location of roles or the workforce element of hybrid remote working?
So first and foremost, I think if a client is trying to bring people back full time, you're going to struggle. That is not as sustainable as a business. 5 days in the office. Granted, some roles, if you're working in a warehouse or in a factory or on-site support or something like that, I get it. You can't really help it. But in the sort of dynamics in the industry that we're in, it's proven to work. Flexibility now is so important to people. The sort of culture within a business, and if companies are bringing you back 5 days a week just because they want to, it's not sustainable. You will have people that are leaving because 99% of other companies are offering that flexibility. So I think the key is just to set a standard within the business. It might be that it's 50-50, which is fine, or 2 days in the office, 3 days, or whatever it is, but make sure there's a clear structure or understandings in place between the employer and the employee, and then just make sure that you've got the processes in place and the sort of infrastructure. So I know for us, for example, we've all got our screens at home.
Apart from me, but I don't use screens.
You don't use screens, so yeah. But the opportunity, the opportunity is there, and the availability of whatever it is that you need. As long as you've got that and that's provided, because having a proper setup, I think, is key as well. Otherwise sitting on your sofa or back at the end of your bed or whatever it is, it's probably not quite as productive as having a desk and a proper chair.
And just clear access to everything, I guess. If you've got to take quick notes, you've got everything there, you don't need to scramble around. And okay, perfect. So in terms of last main question then, please tell us what advice you would give yourself when you first started at Conspicuous.
Okay, I thought about this one this morning because I thought this question might come up.
We asked Alex as well.
Did you?
I think so, yeah.
So I think the two main bits of advice would be never assume anything. And that leads on to the second point, is that we're dealing with people. So there's no right answer, there's no formula, or there's no right way about things. Every person is different. Every answer to every person is different. Everyone's lifestyle is different. Everyone's background is different. So there's not going to be one set of rules or anything for anyone. So you've always got to make sure that you cover everything off. You know, you need to understand their family situation. You need to understand a company's location or restrictions around working from home, for example. So every single situation that you enter in is different. So you need to make sure that you get all the information in detail, and never assume anything. If you assume, you're already
That's what you taught me.
Exactly. If you assume anything, you're already setting yourself up for failure or to miss something which could be incredibly important and a key bit of information.
Yeah. No,
so never
that's
assume.
brilliant.
And remember, everyone's different. We're dealing with people.
I like that. I love those. Thank you. Okay, so the last little bit of this podcast is quick fire round. So no long answers, please. Super quick, off the top of your head.
Okay.
Number 1.
Right.
Favourite aspect of the recruitment industry?
The sociable element.
Top skill you look for in a candidate?
Motivation and drive.
Best piece of advice you've received in your career?
Best piece of advice is don't take things too personally.
One word that describes your management style?
Amazing.
Most rewarding placement you've ever made?
I quite like the ones where you're helping people relocate, because it's a huge thing. It's not just the new job, it's also someone moving overseas or abroad. So they're really rewarding, I would say.
Morning person or night owl?
I'm becoming more of a morning person.
Peloton?
Yeah.
Preferred method of candidate sourcing, social media or referrals?
Oh, referrals are great because it means you've done a good job previously.
A trend in recruitment you're excited about?
The technology, the new technology that's available, such as AI.
Coffee or tea?
Neither. I don't drink hot drinks.
Green tea?
Green tea.
Your go-to interview question for candidates?
Tell me 3 non-negotiables in your new job. So what you're looking for, 3 non-negotiable things.
I'm going to use that. One skill you think every recruiter should master?
Communication.
Best way to unwind after a busy day?
Sitting in the hot tub, going for a beer.
One thing you wish you knew when you started your career in recruitment?
The highs and the lows element. The lows, how low the lows can be, but also how good the highs can be.
Dream vacation destination?
Oh, Maldives.
Preferred approach, remote work or in office?
Before COVID, it was always office, but now I like the hybrid element.
Most challenging industry to recruit for?
Most challenging industry? Well, dynamics is pretty hard.
Yeah, to be fair.
Hence why we're here and we specialise in it. So
your favourite conspicuous team tradition?
The socials.
One thing people often misunderstand about the recruitment processes?
That it's easy, or that we have all the answers.
And weirdest thing someone has said to you in the recruitment process?
Oh, if I told you the thing that came to mind, it wouldn't be able to go on this podcast. But some of the reactions we get from people are just, unbelievable.
Unique.
Yeah, unique. There we go. Yeah, that's probably the right way to say it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining, Nico. Honestly, I really appreciate your time. I know how busy he is, guys, so I really appreciate it. And just one last thing from me then. So Lucy's back next week from Barcelona. She's been telling us all on LinkedIn. Please, can you ask Lucy a question for her when she comes back that we're going to ask her?
Oh, wow. About recruitment or just in general?
Anything you want. Obviously kind of related to something what we do.
How did you find detaching yourself from work and holiday? Because I can't do it. I struggle. I still work when I'm on holiday.
I'm the same. Okay.
So how did you find it?
Okay, I love that. Right, well, thank you so much, Nico, and I hope you all enjoy this podcast episode, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.